One of the things that I quickly learned about having sons in high school is that one of their favorite epithets, one of their favorite ways of saying something is not good or is degrading is they'll say, "Oh, that's so gay." This is the time of life, adolescence, when they are making all of these judgments about heterosexuality and homosexuality as well. And my older boys would say, if my younger son came into a room and was wearing a pair of sweatpants, "Oh, that's so gay." I always said, "What does that mean?" These are questions, though, that kids have, and our next guest has some answers for how to discuss the fact that one of your friends might be gay. Eric Marcus is the author of What If Someone I Know Is Gay? Answers to Questions About Gay and Lesbian People, written to help readers 12 and up and their parents better understand issues about gays and lesbians. Did you find that in high school, or is this a more recent thing?
This is new. I only learned this about a year and a half ago.
Oh, really? It's like their favorite thing to say.
When I was in school, it was faggot. That was the preferred term.
Right. I know. That sounds so mean.
It is mean.
Yeah,
it is mean. But I was talking with my nephew about this, and he said that's the most popular thing kids say, not really knowing necessarily what it means. In fact, my brother was telling me he has two kids, 11 and 7. And Ryan and Evan have friends who live across the way. And they were over for dinner, and the little girl, who's 7, said to her brother, 11, "Don't be so gay," at dinner.
Right.
And I said to my brother,
I
said, did anyone say anything?
Right,
and he said, no, nobody knew what to say.
Right.
And so kids go on saying this, thinking it's perfectly okay to say, "Don't be so gay," not thinking that gay, not knowing that gay actually has a meaning other than bad or stupid.
Right.
It actually refers to people. So parents can say something. And in fact, I include this in the book. I have a question in the book. What do you do when your kid says something like that? A parent can say and has the responsibility to say to a child, I quote a friend of mine, my friend Cindy. She said to her child, "I have friends who are gay."
Right.
Gay means it's a person who loves someone of the same gender. And she explained it in an age-appropriate way. And she said, "That word hurts my friends, and I don't want my friends to be hurt, so please don't say that again." Because one of her sons had called her other son, said, "Don't be so gay," and then said, "faggot."
Right.
Parents have a responsibility to say something. Otherwise, their kids grow up thinking gay is something bad. And so my nephew said to me that he thought gay was something nasty. He couldn't believe that I was gay, even though he knew that I was he knows me and he knows Barney, my significant other. He's known us as a couple for years. But he didn't associate bad, which was gay, with me, his uncle who he loves. And I was horrified that in my own family, and I write on this stuff, I've been writing on this stuff for years, and that my own family, gay is something bad, and that's me.
Right. It's very strange. It really. So now, when can you start talking about this with other? And you know, in our family, my husband and I both had friends who were gay, and still my kids say this. When do you start talking about this, and how do you talk about it?
When it comes up. When the 7-year-old at the dinner table says, "Don't be so gay," or the 6-year-old says, "Why do Uncle Pete and Uncle Doug sleep in the same bed?" All a parent has to say is, "Well, Uncle Pete and Uncle Doug love each other the way Mommy and Daddy do." End discussion. When my significant other and I got committed, we had a commitment ceremony. Sometimes I think I should be committed for the work I do. But we had a ceremony. My brother and sister were completely freaked out about the idea of what do we tell the kids. I said, it's not complicated. And my sister had Rachel right next to her at that moment. And she was 8, I think, at the time. I said, just tell her that Uncle Eric and Uncle Barney love each other the same way Mommy and Daddy do, and they're having a ceremony like a wedding. And she told Rachel that, and Rachel said, well, tell Uncle Eric, or she said, ask Uncle Eric, is he going to be moving into Uncle Barney's mansion? She liked Uncle Barney's house.
Okay.
And I said, yes. And she said, wonderful, just tell him that I'm glad he's found a nice husband, finally.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And then she wanted to know if she could be the flower girl.
There you go.
And my sister was shocked that that's all she had to say. She didn't have to get into sex education, which is what terrifies parents, that you're going to have to discuss sex. Kids understand love. Two people loving each other is a very simple thing you can explain to a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. So it's when the questions come up. When they hit adolescence, my 12-year-old niece, the same Rachel who wanted to be a flower girl, I asked her if she had any questions to add to the book. And she said yes. She said she wanted to know if Uncle Barney and I slept together, and that's an easy question. I said yes. And she wanted to know if gay people try to have sex.
Uh-huh. And you said, no.
I said, I thought
Like
for a
any
second,
good parent.
I thought, where does that question come from? And I asked her, I said, when was the last time you had sex education? She said, 4th grade. I said, based on what you learned then, it's confusing. You can't understand mechanically how it could work. And she said, exactly, so how do gay people have sex? And I said, gay and lesbian people do pretty much what everybody else does with some exceptions. And if you want more details, you'll have to talk to your parents. And I really have to respect her parents and their boundaries and what they've discussed and not discussed. She also told her parents that she would read my book when it was published and she'd find out for herself.
And she would learn herself.
She would learn herself.
But you know, all of these sexual issues, I'm already seeing it with my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old. They'll say sometimes when people kiss on television, they'll say, oh, they're having sex, you know. And sometimes same-sex issues come up, just spoofing.
Yes.
And my 7-year-old will say, oh, he's gay, and he doesn't mean it in a negative way, but I don't think he knows what it means.
That's a moment where you can say, do you know what that means? And your kid might say, no, I don't. You can say simply, everyone has feelings of attraction. Some people are attracted to the opposite gender. Some people are attracted to the same gender. And leave it at that. Without making a judgment, saying one is bad. Some parents may want to make a judgment.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with them.
Right.
But children are curious, and I see no problem in discussing it with them in a way that's age appropriate.
And you started to write this book because of your own niece and nephew?
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
I never would have imagined that I'd write a book for children. It never occurred to me that I'd write a book for children because I've always really stayed away from children on this issue, period, because grown-ups are really uncomfortable with the idea of children and homosexuality anywhere near each other. But it's, in my own family, it's come up as an issue because of my niece and nephew. It happened to be around the same time I got a call from a children's publisher asking me if I'd do a children's version of an adult book that I wrote called Is It a Choice? And I had to think about it a lot because did I want to address this issue with children? I really didn't have a choice. I've been getting emails in recent years from younger and younger children who were reading my book that was not written for them. It was written for older people.
So it made sense to think. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back to talk more. What if someone you know is gay? No nonsense, age-appropriate answers to kids' questions.